All right, let's talk about Nvidia as well here. Shares are relatively flat in pre-market trading after closing higher by 8% on Wednesday. The surge coming after CEO Jensen Huang touted the extraordinary demand for AI chips at the Goldman Sachs Communacopia and Technology Conference on Wednesday.
Demand is so great that delivery of our components and our technology and our infrastructure and software is really emotional for people. Because it directly affects their revenues, it directly affects their competitiveness.
Huang pointing to the intensity of the demand being so great that their customers get emotional when the supply can't always meet what they want here. And that demand has certainly benefited Nvidia to this point. And some of the entrenchment that they've been able to put forward for themselves has really come back to CUDA, which we've talked at length with several analysts about. Stacy Rasgon, one of them we've talked about CUDA with, and how that compute unified device architecture, what it stands for, how that's really been part of the thesis around Nvidia. But then you start to think about, okay, if Nvidia is unable to meet some of that demand, who are some of the other players that could win or at least take some market share in the near-term period? Is it competitors like AMD? They have a company that they bought called ZT Systems, helps bring in systems expertise. It was kind of an engineer acquisition, but all these things considered, an acqui-hire as some people would call it, all these things considered, it's looking at some of the other stock plays that could potentially benefit as Nvidia is trying the best it can to meet demand and where other players can at least pick up some of the chips that are falling off their plate.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly been the narrative surrounding Nvidia stock, right? Just the fact that they have such a dominant position right now. When you take into account the estimates here for AI growth down the line, the chip sector, exactly their role clearly critical here to the adoption of AI going forward. Nvidia is far from the only name in the game right now. Yes, they are the leader, but there certainly are other opportunities for some of those smaller players relative to Nvidia to chip away at that market share. But I think just taking a look at the move yesterday, the significance of an 8% pop on the heels of really Jensen Huang almost just reiterating what we've heard time and time again. Yes, he did say some interesting commentary when it comes to the fact that customers are a bit more emotional because everyone wants to be first when it comes to this technology. But the fact that he did once again reiterate that quote unquote incredible demand for chips also went on to talk about the fact that every dollar a company spends on Nvidia infrastructure could be turned into $5 in cloud computing revenue. And I think that almost validates some of the concerns that had been, or validates the initial euphoria that we did see play out within the AI trade, and almost puts to ease some of those concerns that we did have over the last several weeks when it comes to, I guess, how quickly some of these companies are able to make money when it comes to their AI investments.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get investors' take on the chip demand picture. Later on this hour, we will be speaking with John Vinh. He's KeyBanc Capital Markets equity research analyst. That's coming up in just about 30 minutes.